Hey, it's Krusty the Clown. Just kidding. It's Sierra Game Scott. Hopefully, with his microphone plugged in properly this time. Yes, we are playing Police Quest 2, and we have just had an encounter with Jesse Baines, the Death Angel from the last game. And what we have to do now is investigate the crime scene. Now that Baines is gone, we couldn't catch up to him. I assume other people are pursuing the so-called Death Angel. Anyway, let's talk to Keith and see he's up to. He says, "I'm with you, Sonny." Of course he's with us, standing around talking. But we'd expect nothing less from a worthless Sierra sidekick. Okay, Keith says, "I'm right behind you, partner." By the way, I'm entirely feigning surprise at everything that's happening in this video since I just did this with the microphone improperly plugged in. I figured my voice is annoying enough without kind of hearing a muffled echo version of it. Anyway, we lost Keith. There's one, yeah, I have some weird sound. I don't know if you get getting picked up. It's actually not the sound I remember, and just a quick tidbit on that, if you can hear it, or even if you can't hear it, I'm going to give you a tidbit. It actually depends upon the sound blaster you use or select. I don't have, all the sound blasters options they have are, of course, ancient for DOS, so I just selected a random one. And I'm actually getting music that I'm not familiar with. I think I told you before, I remembered a more peppy sort of soundtrack for the car and a few other areas, and that's gone. So I don't like this one as much, but it is kind of interesting just that there are different soundtracks depending on the type of sound card you select. So if it doesn't seem familiar to you, it's the same for me, and probably because I selected a poor sound card. Anyway, let's take a look in the trash. As you expected, you look in the garbage and find garbage. But what if we move the garbage? Moving the garbage around, you find discarded clothing. Looking closer, you see what appears to be spots of blood on the clothing. Well, that's how we take the clothes, since there's nothing more I like than old bloody clothes. You remove a pair of gray pants and a blue shirt from the can. You think to yourself, man, these look like jail clothes. Wait a minute, here's a cloth name tag sewn onto his shirt. Well, it's either jail clothes or a garbage man suit, I guess. Let's read tag. J. Baines. Well, that's a tip that might be something of some importance. All right, now if you look over here on the far left side, close to trees, really pretty imposing trees. Somehow you can't get by, but a car can get through. Anyway, ignoring that small inconsistency, you really can't make out unless you look closely. I don't know how well you can tell on YouTube. I can barely tell in my window here. I'm not playing full screen though. That it is actually red there, and it's actually blood. So let's look at the obscured blood. Near the river's edge, you look down and see what appears to be partially coagulated blood and drag marks. You also see footprints on the soft, damp ground. As you inspect the evidence, Keith ambles into view. Who knows what he was doing beforehand? But Keith has arrived to say... Keith pipes up, "Hey, look at that. I'll bet Baines snuffed that poor jailer and then threw the body into the river." Now, that, folks, is the reason they have kept Keith around. I mean, that just incisive detective skills leave me speechless. Nothing gets by Keith. Anyway, yes, indeed, the blood is of the jailer, and he was thrown into the water, as was pretty evident. Okay, you take care of the evidence, and I'll go radio a request for the dive team. You do that, Keith. Well, at least it serves some purpose. I guess he's doing all the dispatch work where we are contacting a dispatcher, whereas we don't have to do any of that. Alright, so let's turn our attention back to the blood. How about we take the blood? Actually, how about we take a picture? It'll last longer. You photograph the crime scene from several different angles, then you return the camera to the field kit. Yeah, by the way, all these things are in the field kit. So we take the blood, and we're going to use the eyedropper in there. You use the eyedropper to collect a sample of the coagulated blood and put it into the glass vial. You return the eyedropper to the kit and add the vial of blood to your inventory of evidence. So I guess you're supposed to figure out how to do this. I'm doing a sort of from memory, sort of from the walkthrough. I guess you're supposed to do either through just sort of reasoning, looking at what's in the field kit to know what to do, or using the manual to advise you what to do in certain situations. And there's one last thing we want to do is take footprint. And fortunately, it's pretty easy to submit evidence. It's not as annoying as in some of the other games, including that horrible Game 3 that we've already talked about. You mix the powder to the proper consistency and pour it into the footprint depression. After the liquid dries, you remove the impression of the footprint and add to the list of evidence. Alright. Do we have a list of evidence? I didn't know that. You're carrying handgun extra... whatever. Maybe it's just a figure of speech. Probably is. Okay, so let's head on back. And... Alright. And... There we go. Took a little longer. Yes, the dive team has arrived. Apparently the small town of Lyndon has a dive team on their police force. Officer Moore says, "Well, here I am, Bonds. What can I do for you?" I'm gonna think we are going to need to dive. "I don't like diving alone. I'm the only diver available," Moore says. "You wouldn't happen to have a scuba certification card, would you?" You say, "Yes, I do." You think to yourself, "Now, where did I put that?" Now, we've got to just pause for a minute. I just can't let that go by. We called in the dive team. Now, admittedly, we use... let's pause that for a second. Admittedly, we have Keith taking care of that task, but you think if the dive team from a a diver from the police department gets a call from another officer that they need the diving crew, that maybe they're going to want him to dive. Yet, he does not bring another person along as the only person and will not dive alone. So, fortunately for him, and I guess fortunately for some of the action in the game, yes, we do have it. So let's look in wallet. We do have the certification, I should say. And yes, in the back of your wallet, you find your scuba diving certificate. You show your scuba certification card to the diver. Oh, wait. Okay, wait here while I change. So, yes. So, I mean, what was the guy expecting us? You know, just hang out at Cotton Cove? I don't know what Keith told him. Said we were going to play volleyball or something. Alright, wow, this guy's a quick change artist. Indeed he is. Can we be as quick as Officer Moore? Okay, Bond says Moore. The equipment is in the van. Just take what you need. Now, this is, I guess in any other profession would be called malpractice. Because essentially he's telling somebody who I guess does have a certification, but just go in and take whatever you need. Now, if you do the wrong thing, you actually end up dying, and he gives us no advice to this at all. Alright, so let's take fins. You take a pair of yellow fins. Take suit. Take belt. Take mask. Take vest. And you do not need those black fins. Now we need a tank. So let's see what happens if you take the one that kind of stands out. Tank 4. Take the gray tank from its brackets, but decide that it's much too large for river diving, and you return it. Alright. So pretty much we have to just take it and do trial by error. Tank 1. You remove the air tank from the back of the van. Okay. And then we have to look at tank. Nope, that's not enough. So yes, apparently there are some tanks, in fact all the tanks but one, or at least all but one and maybe the big one, are in fact don't have enough air and you will die, which is not really the best. If that is the case, maybe Detective Moore would clue us in on that. Sadly, he doesn't want to. Let's take tank 3, see how that works. Look at tank. Alright, that's what we want. 2200. Let's leave. Before exiting, you put on some scuba equipment, and you'll leave everything else you have in the van. Yeah, this is one of the things where you need to lock something up, or else you lose everything. That'd be kind of annoying. Alright. Officer Moore puts his mask and fins on, climbs into the water, and disappears from sight beneath the surface. You quickly put on your fins and follow him into the swiftly moving river. Alright, folks. Well, we are coming close to the end, and the scuba scene does take a little bit of time. I'll let you see what's underneath the lake at Cotton Cove, or whatever they call it, a lake pond. And as you can see, it's not the most impressive place in the world. There's a nice rusted car at the bottom and some tires. I guess I don't know if people swim there. I've never really seen it. In any event, you can dive here, or police, I guess, only can dive here, and it's not the nicest underwater imagery. Not exactly like snorkeling off some Caribbean coastline somewhere. Okay, anyway. That's all the time we have for this edition of Police Quest 2 Let's Play by Sierra Games Scott. I'm going to sign off for now, but we'll be back to explore the great, well, this pond at Cotton Cove. Until then, take care.